Dear future Enoch, there's currently construction going on outside, so if there's a bit of background noise, it's because of that. Anyways, I have a history degree, which is no small task to achieve, but also one that's not very well appreciated. What are you gonna do with history? Teach? I studied history not to be a lifelong bookworm, but because I wanted to understand the world around me. People, humans, us. But while history looks at the sources and records that people in the past left behind, archaeology looks at the artifacts, the objects, the mundane things. Now, some people think of archaeology as being a subset of history, and the university I studied at categorized archaeology that way. But in other places, archaeology is either a subset of anthropology, the study of humans, or its own thing entirely. Not saying that I should have changed majors, I have no regrets about my current degrees. But archaeology is more into the realm of dealing with direct connections with the past, much more than history. There's a well-known saying that the history books are written by the victors. And that's one of the problems of history, at least in the traditional sense that it is understood. Because the victors are the ones that are able to write the history books, get them published and canonized, and get them copied enough so that they survive the tests of time. And also, for much of recorded history, only the victors were literate. The field of archaeology, meanwhile, is more focused on the physical objects that people left behind. These are mostly everyday items like pottery, utensils, tools, weapons, food. You are what you eat. Garbage. You are what you throw out. But the most important part about archaeology is that it tells us what ordinary people were like. People who were not the victors, people who were not educated, people who weren't notable enough to make it into the history books. People like you and me, who, despite not being very big names, are still very much alive with their own stories to tell. Archaeology is one of the ways, and sometimes the only way, where these voices of the past can be heard. It studies the physical objects that people once used, forming a sort of direct connection with the past. Not everybody knows how to read and write, but everybody produces artifacts that can give us clues about how they lived their lives. And it's when you study archaeology that you realize that people of the past were very much like us. I think one of my longtime favorites are 4,000-year-old cuneiform letters from Assyria detailing plans to dodge import duties and inspection by hiding the parcels inside the trader's underwear. Just as people try to evade taxes today, so too did people try to evade taxes 4,000 years ago. And being able to see people in the past as being like us fundamentally changes how we see and perceive of history, not as a list of objective facts, but as stories told on a personal, intimate level. It makes the past come alive again, and adds a human touch that a cold mathematical calculation cannot provide. Archaeology is kinda like a cousin of history, not one and the same, but part of the same family. And while history helps us to paint a broader timeline and connect all of the events of history together to show how they constructed the present, archaeology reminds us that it was people like you and me who made history, and also how to dodge taxes with your underwear. Future Enoch, I'll see you next week.